What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, well, we have the first part, or part one of the Phase 2, or Land Phase 2 white paper, and it is simply just a graphic that Matt has shared here. So I'm going to skip down to the important part. Well, I guess let's just talk about it here. So there's going to be 30 different building options. There's going to be 50 different resources, and everyone, will need to find their place in the intricate and complex land economy. So a couple things, right? This is the first of the posts, and it contains nothing more than a one single graphic. Below you can find the flowchart, visual overview of all the resources and buildings that are currently planned. Now, the other thing here that you'll need to keep in mind is that this is simply a first draft. They absolutely expect many parts to be changed over time, but they wanted to share this with us, and so, that's not going to stop us. A first draft is not going to stop us from doing an absolute deep dive. So I open this in a different tab here, so let's actually go over there so I can zoom in and we can go straight from the top down. Okay, so Secret of Pretoria, you can see here that the blue squares are resource production buildings. The purple squares are resource refinement buildings. We'll call it yellow will be natural or magic resources. Orange circles will be refined resources. Special resources will be dark orange. All right, so I guess there's a light orange and a dark orange. And then what is this? Like light green or aqua, non-building methods of resource production. And then resource use cases is the dark green, and gray squares, items planned for future phases. So let's just start from the top here. Okay, so you got three things at the top here. You got providing liquidity, and that's going to be an important one, but it's going to give you an elixir. So this is a special resource that will only be available to people who are providing liquidity. The other part here, magic resource production building. So it looks like you'll be able to, produce magical resources. So resource production buildings, and then you'll get your magic resources. Okay, so if you have like a magic plot of land on, let's say like dragon magic, you can build that building there to then, produce those things. Not refine them, but produce them. Refining is going to happen in the laboratory, but we'll get to that in a second. And then you have outposts, which will be a resource production building, which will create essences, so natural or magic resources. Now let's go down to the next part here. Now all three of these will go into the laboratory. So you will need an elixir, magical resources, and essences. And what this is going to create are elemental essences. So let's actually follow this flowchart down before going through the second part here. And you'll see a part of that will go into the mill to create some type of elemental foods, I'm assuming. So that'll go into the mill. Another part of it's going to go all the way down here into the item and spell production. So you'll be able to use those refined resources. You will also be able to put them into the lithification site for elemental stones. Not sure what that will be needed for yet, but we will get there. Okay, so let's look at this part here. Actually, we'll start with the all the way on the left. So a farm will get you grain. So right now, you can just farm grain with a work site, but you'll probably have to build a farm in the future to then harvest grain on your land. At which point you will need to send it to the mill along with elemental essences, and then there looks like there'll be some wood as well, probably to create a mill. And that'll create the elemental foods, which you will use to feed the workers. So the only alpha that we have from this is just something Matt had mentioned in the past, where right now grain is a very inefficient food source, right? Workers eat roughly half of the production that they produce at the base production level. In the future, he's saying that this will be something that will probably refine that to improve the amount or the rate at which they consume grain, to reduce it significantly. Or maybe it'll just be a requirement that you'll need to feed like a death monster or a death unit some kind of like elemental, death kind of food, whatever you want to call it, corpse nuggets. Okay, so let's actually skip over to, no, never mind. We're going to go in order here. So we did the farm. We looked at the laboratory. Now you got the quarry. So in the quarry, you'll be able to get stone. Now, what's interesting here is I wonder, what they don't have on this is which lands are going to produce what. So obviously, if you have like a forest, you're not going to have a quarry in a forest, right? I would assume that would be like a logging camp or something. But that might be something worth adding in for the future, just in case anybody's watching. But the quarry is going to produce stone. Stone is going to go straight to the lithification site to create those elemental stones, along with the essences as well as wood. It looks like wood is going to be a big part of a lot of things here. So that's the next one, logging camp. So wood is going to be required, I'm assuming, to build a mill, but I don't know, maybe. Well, okay, so to build a mill, I don't know if it's going to be required to create the elemental foods. You'll need the mill, but I don't know if it'll be something ongoing. Now, granted, there might be like maintenance costs, so that could be interesting. But you have the lithification site, sawmill, and foundry that are all parts, or that will all require wood from the logging camp. So scooting over here to the mine, this will create ores, which will go straight to the foundry to create metal bars. And then you got your castles and keeps getting some extra utility here, being the only way that you can produce these resources, trifoil runes. And these go down into the runology tower. So, okay, we followed this flowchart for farms. We followed the flowchart for laboratory. Let's actually just continue down here. So the lithification site, pretty easy, comes from stone. The sawmill is going to produce lumber that comes straight from the logging camp with wood. We did the foundry already, the metal bars. So let's actually go down with the castle and keep into the runology tower. So you will need, okay, so this is where it's interesting. And I think we heard Matt talk about this briefly as well. You will need trifoil runes in order to get research. So this is why Matt is saying he wants to go very heavy on research right now, because in the future you won't be able to just get it by you won't be able to get it just by putting folks on a plot of land. You will need to go and get trifoil runes from somebody who owns a castle or a keep that it's willing to sell in order to continue pushing research. So research is actually going to be gated by what is it, like 100 or 1,500 plots, right? So you got 150 keeps, 1,350, 150 keeps, 150 castles and 1,350 keeps. So that'll be interesting. And then if we follow this all the way down, the ancient ruins reconstruction project, this is kind of the main thing of Secret of Praetoria. So it looks like you're going to need the gemstones, or that's going to create gemstones and totem fragments. And then of course the Secret of Praetoria. There's also this part here, building, construction, upgrades, and maintenance. So it looks like lumber is going to be required for a lot of that. And actually, let's go back up. Okay, so resource use cases. Okay, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It looks like these are all coming from the sawmill out there. So let's get in some of the special resources now, right? Which are the dark orange. So here you have desalinization crystals, which is, that's desalinization crystals. I don't know where that comes from. Infrastructure projects, and then salt. So you'll be able to create salt from the desalinization crystals. Legendary and alchemy potions. Okay, so you'll be able to combine these with legendary and alchemy potions, and I believe, at least according to the town hall earlier, you will be able to unlock the legendary and alchemy potions, or use salt in order to unlock those in the alchemy lab to create enhanced potions, which you can use on items and spells. Now, I believe the early alpha on this is that it's not going to be required, but if you want to use potions on items and spells whenever you produce them to see if you can get a legendary or to see if you can get a gold foil, that's where these enhanced potions are going to come in. And then we'll go back over here. So the gemstones come down into the lapidary to have polished gemstones. Okay, so another resource refinement building. All of this is part of the items and spell production. So you're going to need enhanced potions. You're going to need, what's over here? Elemental essences. You're going to need mana crystals and then polished gemstones. So let's go over to the mana crystals. This is how they are tying land in, at least for the first phase or phase 2 of land, by providing guild power. Now, Matt did say he wants to do a lot more combining land and guilds in the future, but you will need to provide some kind of guild power. Now, here's the question. If you already have guild power that you've given, will you need to give more, or can you kind of double dip, right? So if I've given, let's say I have like 100,000 guild power that I've given to all the different buildings in my guild. Can I also use that for land? or will I need extra guild power in order to do that? My guess is the secondary, mainly because I think there's a lot of people after the Great Burning event over the summer that have a lot of extra guild power, and this will be a place that they can use it to create these mana crystals. So all this comes together, and then you get player crafted cards. Keep in mind, this is a draft. So, overall, this is exciting to see. Now we have a much more full and broader vision of what Matt is planning. I do like, as a castle keep owner, I do like that there are certain special resources for castles and keeps. I like that there's special resources for providing liquidity. This is going to be a way in which, I think the team has said in the past, many, players who don't own land, because there's only X amount, 150,000 plots, players who don't own land can still kind of participate in the land process by providing liquidity. I think that's how it's going to work, but, we'll have to wait and see. Desalinization crystals, I don't know where those come from, but we'll have to see what happens with that. But on the whole, it's quite complicated, and I think the main thing to take away from this is that when Matt talks about specialization, this is why, right? Right now it's easy because there's like 3 different things that you can go for: research, SPS, or grain. But in the future, you will really need to specialize in something in order to be able to kind of move forward and have a competitive advantage. Now, speaking of SPS is not on here. If you guys remember, one of the things that I was most excited about, and I think this was talked about like way back in January, was about the fact that, SPS would be given out in arenas. So if you like had an arena, then all of a sudden the land SPS that was given out would be kind of paired up with a lot of the ranked battles. They would be played in the arenas around, Pretoria, and then you'd get a portion of the SPS rewards from that, not from ranked, but from land. It seems as though that is not going to be included, and this is kind of in line with what Matt has been saying, where once all of these other things go live, there's really no need for SPS to be on there. So I think Matt is going to put forth a proposal to end that SPS distribution faucet. I don't know if he's going to apply it somewhere else on land or somewhere else in the game. I kind of prefer if we just stick it in the DAO. It's, less SPS that gets out into the game. But overall, we'll have to wait and see when this actually goes live. There might be another year of distribution before, phase 2 actually gets into the mix. But, let me know your thoughts, guys. Obviously, this is quite in-depth, and there's a lot going on here. So if I missed anything, I apologize. But we can always jump into it a little bit more in a future live stream. But that is all I have for you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.